on. Do you know?
Welcome back to another Cops Mentality Podcast, episode number 30. Whoa.
Is it 30?
30. Yeah, we had 29. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I am sure.
We're almost a year into this thing.
We're almost a year in. Yeah.
Close.
Like, we're not 3 idiots no more.
Nope.
Maybe.
I would beg to differ.
Yeah.
Definitely a bit of.
I'm sure my wife would beg to differ.
This is becoming more comical. I think we're really I think we're starting to really loosen up, guys.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. Now you feel comfortable at the fact that we speak about certain things, but you feel comfortable speaking and just being yourself. You know, it's hard at the beginning when you have no experience on what you're doing, and what we set out to do was to talk about mental health, but it's not always doesn't always have to be a sad story. You know, like mental health doesn't always have to be a sad thing or a bad thing. Listen, we have within the parameters of the mental health, we have our good days, we have our bad days. Not every day is a bad day, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, you have people out there that do have bad days most times, but even in those bad days, they find spots where they're doing good and they're smiling and they're speaking to other people and just having a good old time. And yes, maybe when you go back home and you're by yourself or not around a lot of people, maybe you do revert back to that person and where you're not having such a good time. But you know, it's cool, it's fun. You know, we have fun. Everybody knows I'm a fucking jackass. You know?
I was doing
a fucking idiot. So
I was doing a Peloton ride this morning, and
Peloton.
It wasn't even a ride. I don't even know why I said a ride.
Shouting out people again.
I gotta say what I was doing. And I was on the track. I was on the Peloton track, whatever it is. And today's, I've been doing like a lot of the walking ones because they put you on like a 10 incline and whatever. Just
I can do that here.
That's it. Or on your Nordic track.
I didn't say it.
On your Nordic track. Somebody, please sponsor us.
That here,
like we're begging. Please give us a sponsorship. Anybody listening? You want to hit us up? Anywho, I was on there and they brought on. I talk about her a lot. Mel Robbins, right? She's a philanthropist. She is a businesswoman. She speaks upon mental health. Her and her husband went through a lot of difficult times, and she was this morning. They said $800,000 in debt at one point, and now she's one of the leading podcasts on every platform. Obviously, behind us,
old white woman.
She's probably middle-aged woman. I wouldn't call her old, but I don't know if that's.
I'm pretty sure it's one that Jen listens to, and she's great.
She's
phenomenal. It's the one I'm thinking of.
She is phenomenal. Yeah. So she wrote. She
get there.
I think she wrote a book. I think the book's called "Let Them" or something like that.
I don't know how to read.
All right. Regardless,
we should write a book. Talk about it.
Well, there it is. Please, nobody take our title. Go
ahead, take it, motherfucker. We fucking shouted out here first. We got room.
So she was talking about mental health, and she said something that really like marinated, right? She said something along the lines. Marinated. Right? Okay. She said something along the lines of what you said. She said that it doesn't always have to be a bad day, but she said mental health, the topic itself doesn't have to be something that you focus on as a negative thing, but more so if you're prepared or understanding or aware of the things that you can do before you let it get to that point of being maybe in a place that we've all been. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the beneficial part of getting ahead of the train, so to speak, right? So for me, if we would have known certain things, right? And again, we always revert back to that saying, which I really love by Jay, give yourself grace for not doing better when you didn't know better. How the hell are you supposed to know all this stuff unless you go on your own journey, on your own mental health journey of saying, hey, I feel kind of off. I need to take a breath. I need to grab a sip of water. Or as a good friend of mine once said, you don't have to do a fucking thing. You just got to sit there, embrace it, feel it, and let it pass. It's always going to pass. But we get so used to being in control of everything, right? And especially in our jobs, which we kind of started this whole thing to talk about all these things around mental health for veterans, law enforcement officers, first responders. We're used to that amount of control. And then when we feel something that we don't really like, then we instantly just try to like get rid of it, right? Get rid of that feeling in your chest, in your stomach, the thoughts spiraling, whatever else. So for me, I think that was a really big statement that needed to be said. And Mel Robbins just straight out put it out there. Hey, mental health doesn't have to be a negative thing. It just preparedness, right? Mm-hmm. Or, doing whatever it is that you got to do. So when you are having those days, you're going to just, say, hey, I'll be okay. It's very difficult, man. I think one of the things I'd like to talk about on today's podcast is how are we kind of coping? What are we doing when we notice something that we have in the past, right? For example, this morning I was talking about gardening, right? And Angel said that, or actually, Khalees said, we're losing them. Oh boy, we're losing them. I was gardening this morning, right? It felt really nice. It didn't feel like work.
I'm gonna call ice.
It's not about the gardening part.
It's not about the gardening. It's about what I said. I get it.
He's thinking he's in a fucking battlefield as he's gardening.
I never said I'm in a battlefield.
I'm gonna let him tell his story. Go ahead, tell your truth.
Yeah, please, thank you. I appreciate it. I think they let me talk, motherfucker. I told him, I said, isn't it funny how especially when you're in a situation you've never done something, for example, gardening, yard work, any kind of work around the house.
Seriously, like, people. Let me stop.
Yeah, let me finish. Let me finish.
For you to say that you've never done that, it's whatever. Hard to believe. It's
never finished what? Never did what?
You've never done gardening and stuff like that.
No, I have.
I bet you have.
This is what I'm trying to
get. It's in your DNA.
What's up there? I'm fucking missing something.
They don't get it. It's the best part.
I get it. I get that because I'm Spanish. I get it. I don't want to be the one to put it out there. I told him it's those stupid quotes you see on Instagram, or you gonna press the fucking button? Yeah, no shit. Fucking pay attention.
My bad. I was still looking out because it was just going over your head.
Those quotes, those verses we see, and it was somewhere where it said, "I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a battlefield." Right?
Gardener in a war. But yeah.
What is it?
Gardener in a war.
A gardener in a war. It didn't sound right, which is why I like the battlefield better. So I
he's in
laugh.
a fucking battlefield in his mind.
So I laugh. Because as I'm sitting here, we have all these vegetables coming up and lettuce, tomatoes, and everything. And I'm like, damn, like we were out here, putting in some work, whatever, raking and putting up new soil and everything else. And before it was like, I don't want to fucking do this. I'd rather be doing something else. What's the something else that you're so fucking eager to do? Is go play a video game, hop on social media, go bullshit, watch TV, doing nothing. So for me, I was like, wow, like I feel like I had a click. Angel said it once. He goes, I don't know when I realized my anxiety, I learned about it. I just knew I woke up and I felt like I was home. Do you remember telling me that?
I remember telling you that.
So today it was kind of one of those epiphanies that I was sitting there doing yard work, and I'm sitting here, raking and doing my thing. Megan's running around the pool, the baby's sleeping, and I go, I'm actually fucking enjoying this right now. That's crazy. I've done this 1,000 times because I'm Hispanic or whatever he was referring to, right? But I never really enjoyed it. But now, for the first time, I can genuinely say today, which is June 13th, 2025, at 1,300 hours, approximately earlier, right? But I'm sitting here raking. I was like, wow, this is actually really enjoyable. It's good for me. Like, I'm not on my phone. I'm not on the couch. I'm spending quality time with my wife outside. We're talking. The baby's sleeping. Like, this is really nice.
I'm sure you were talking and she was listening.
Well, I was kind of talking to myself. She was running around the pool. But, nobody was going to say anything until you brought it up.
But I'm pretty sure everybody thought about it. I'm just an intrusive thought that says it.
You had an intrusive thought. You just could not control your fucking mouth. You just blurt it out, right?
This is going to tell your godson, listen, just because you have the thought doesn't mean you need to do it or say it.
Right. Well, there's
I never learned it.
Angel's been saying it and doing it since
were
you reborn?
84.
All right, since 1984, talking shit
since day one, brother man.
Oh man, so that's kind of what I want to know. Like, what have you been doing in your life? Let's say the last couple of months, maybe up to the year that we started this podcast. I think all three of us were in a little bit of a rut. Some of us more than others when we first started the podcast, which is why we delayed it for so long. What did you learn about yourself? What have you been doing? What have people around you been saying? What have they been recognizing? Have your spouses recognized, like, hey, wow, like I've really seen a change in this, that, or the other? Like, is there something you want to share?
I mean, Jen doesn't really say anything, which is fine. I don't look for it. I think that's one of the things, right, is not looking for the approval, validation, whatever else from other people. The other thing is, I've said in a few episodes, is really concentrating on myself, whether like not getting upset about small things, trying to realize that not everything is a big deal. And that happens a lot with the kids, right? The kids draw on the wall. You guys have both been to the house. There's fucking crayon marks. There's like the ink stamps on the wall. And I with how I grew up, right?
We see a wall, they see a canvas.
Right. But your parents would have been pissed, right? Like my dad would have been, are you fucking kidding me? You wrote on the wall. And it's kind of how I grew up. And I think that was one of the ones from the melody you're talking about, Matthias, is she talks about something similar to that, where it's somebody she's interviewing, and he goes, a lot of times we react because it's what we grew up knowing, and that instantly sparked in my head. When I was on road trips with my dad, he would instantly, somebody cut him off, you motherfucker, give him the finger, and I was like, oh, okay, that's how I'm supposed to act.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Blow up, snap.
That's what a man does.
And
it's a man world.
It took me a while to learn that I didn't have to react that way, and that was controlling anger, outbursts, things like that.
But are you perfect? You still get them though.
100%. Even today, I'm like, why the fuck did you cut me off? But I'm not honking my horn, right? I'm not flipping the finger. I'm not. And then I just said,
who cut you off?
Somebody in traffic.
The birdie.
But where's it going to get me? Like, that's the whole thing I've gone to.
Satisfaction.
Even being mad, right?
How long did it take you to recognize that you were getting yourself to where you didn't want to, right? Like, let's say, for example, the lady cut you off. You have a human reaction, which is normal, right? You have an option here. You're going to do what you used to do, or you're going to observe what you did, let it come naturally, because you don't want to suppress the emotion, right? We don't want to do that, but we need to be able to let it go quicker.
Don't necessarily suppress it, but you have to understand it and really pull yourself in and go, is this worth however I'm feeling? The answer is going to be no. So there's two things that stick out to me where I've really learned perspective and things like that. One of them was Jen and I were actually driving home from upstate, and we were on, I don't know what bridge. We were on a bridge, and this dude cuts Jen off driving, and and he almost hits the car. And I'm like, what a fucking dickhead. And I yell at him. He goes into the right-hand shoulder and actually drives up, spits at the car, and then goes to hit right where Ollie was sitting. I was fucking livid. And Jen goes, please don't do anything. This guy's nuts. And in my head, I go, right, he is. Could I handle it? Yes. But why am I putting my kid in a situation just because myself and this guy, who obviously can't control himself, into any type of situation? So I was like, all right, nope, fine. So it's ignored. We sat there, listened to music, and that was one of my first ones. I was like, how I react to things. Though we could say, oh, well, you're a man, you're mad, it's a valid emotion. Absolutely. But you control how you react to it, right? The other one was that really set home was when I was in supervisor training in Nassau. The guy comes in, he's like, again, talks about perspective. He goes, when you're in traffic no matter what. So you can sit there, and it's like a spiral. You can sit there and go, I'm in fucking traffic, I'm late. Fuck this is fun. And you're just going to get madder and madder and madder and madder. Your whole day is wasted. He goes, why? So yeah, you're stuck in traffic. Okay. It's a beautiful day out. You're listening to good music. You're chilling. Either you're in that traffic no matter what for 10 minutes. So that's 10 minutes. You can be upset, you can be pissed, and you're going to ruin your day, and then you're just going to keep holding on to that. Or you can, fucking traffic. All right, well, hey, let's find a good song to listen to. You instantly change and try and find something positive. And that's something that I've done, especially now with the kids. That's helped me a lot, and something I thoroughly, even when they do something where it's, again, yes, human being, do I still get mad at things? Absolutely. The kids piss me off. I'm like, God fucking damn it. I'm like, all right, well, they're 5, and they don't
Lord,
know.
he didn't mean that.
And they don't know, right? Like, and you pull yourself in, and it's really how you
ask for forgiveness tonight.
it's how you decide to react to it. And
I love that. I don't know if you realize this, but you talk a lot about very different emotions, and that's what I love about us three. We're very similar in a lot of ways, but very different in many, right? And you talk a lot about like anger, right? I don't know if you noticed that. You've always talked about anger. I've always talked a lot about fear. Angel does whatever the fuck he wants. So this is a great perspective. But I read something, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. It was on social media, and I really liked it. It said there is a blind person that goes into the elevator. Mm-hmm. Does that ring a bell at all?
No.
Okay. Guy goes into the elevator, and he's just sitting there, right? And people start coming out of the elevator, and all of a sudden there is a person behind. Okay, he can feel it, that there's a presence of a person behind him. And all of a sudden, as the elevator starts to fill, people are kind of bumping into each other, trying to get off on a different floor or whatnot. If you are the person who's blind and has to depend on all of your other senses, right, and you've probably learned how to be a little bit more patient with people, especially since you can't see them, how would you react if you kept getting bumped into. I mean, you're on the, let's call it the 32nd floor, right? And you're getting bumped into all the way up to the 32nd floor. And then as you start getting higher, you realize less bumping, but it seems to keep coming from like a different place, right? If you were this person, would you eventually snap? Would you like go, what the fuck, man? Like, what is your problem? Like, how would you react to getting literally pushed forward over and over and over and over again in the elevator?
But it's like one of those, again, like you're going to choose how you react to it.
So
Would I get frustrated? Absolutely. But I don't, whether you're blind or not, if you're turned either A, if I was blind, I feel like I'd feel behind.
Just humor me for 5 seconds, right? Like, let's call it you're tired. The kids have, drawn on the walls. You haven't gotten much sleep. You didn't get to record your favorite podcast. All right. All these things are happening. Okay. How would you react of getting pushed over and over and over again, all the way up to the 32nd floor?
Well, yeah, I'd definitely, you reach behind you and you see if somebody's there, right? But turn around and say, can you stop?
Right. Can you stop?
You can be stern without, what the fuck do you keep? Because
again,
you can react
humor
to
me.
that.
Let's talk about human nature. Everything's going wrong. You're having a shit day.
Right.
You're getting pushed all the way up to the 32nd floor. What would you do? How would you
ask them to move?
Like move, stop it, whatever. What would you do?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not in that situation. I know you want me to humor you, but I think I'm very similar to you with working on my emotions, because I know I have to work on my emotions. Because just like I just asked you if you flipped the guy, the birdie, or the girl, whoever the fuck was that cut you off, or that person that you said that
TLC in the scrubs. That's
that same person you said that almost crashed into you and Jen.
Yep.
And she told you to calm down. I don't know that I have the strength to calm down. And it's happened to me where, we have gotten into this little bit of road rage, and not necessarily because I started anything. It's just people drive like fucking assholes. And, every now and then you get pulled into that world.
Yep.
So as the thing with the elevator, it's like, I don't know, if you're having a bad day and you're getting pushed and pushed and pushed, that might be your breaking point.
Yeah.
Or it might be that point where you're just like, damn, things are just not going right for me today. Like, I just keep getting pushed all over. So it depends on the person, to be honest. That's an individual thing.
You two have talked about perspective a lot, right? You always talk about perspective. I love that word that we say, perspective. It's all about perspective. So the moral of the story is you're going up to my perspective. You're going up to the 32nd floor, and most of us on a bad day would turn around and be like, hey, will you fucking stop? Will you stop shoving into me? Whatever that reaction is, because it is a human reaction. We have clearly have worked on our emotions for the last, let's take a year, right? We're all in our 30s. We spent a lot of time bullshitting, wasting time, learning,
40s, but
what's that? Oh, I'm sorry. 40s. Well, 30s, 40s. Sorry, old man. Sorry, old guy.
I look older than me.
But the reality is that we've done a lot of self work and whatnot. Self-reflection, self-work, whatever you want to call it. The moral of the story is a lot of us will react, right? Will you fucking stop? Will you stop bumping into me? I've already told you twice, 3 times. Here's a spin. If you were in that elevator, okay, and let's say you were not that blind person, you were just a regular person like all of us, which you can relate, because I'm sure you've been in a place, whether it's the train, an elevator, wherever, and somebody just keeps bumping into you and turning you, and you turn around and you react the way that you just did. What the fuck's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. And now you turn around to see that it actually is an older person who happens to be blind with a walking stick that keeps bumping into you, trying to figure out if anybody in front of him has already moved. Right. The perspective is like, man, would I react differently at the fact that the person behind me is actually somebody who's struggling to see, somebody who's standing back there and really depending on you to see if you've left or moved forward. But you are too so fucked up in your own head that day of not sleeping much. The kids are on your nerves. Your girlfriend broke up with you, whatever it is, to react that way. So really just taking the time to humble yourself, to not react, to kind of evaluate in the moment the best that we can, because we are human beings, we are going to make it. But how many people can say that they've had less and less throughout their life goes on, moments of, I learned something new. I'm not going to necessarily react. I know this feeling creeping up. This guy flicked me off while I was arriving on the bridge and he got closer to me. Instead of having that ego to go, I got to do something. Okay, sir, see you later. Slow the car down. Do something that's going to put you in safety, not, like you said, jeopardize your family or whatever the case is. I think that's something that I've worked on, a lot, tremendously, when I feel those emotions coming up of hunger, right? How angry do we get when we're hangry, right? You haven't eaten something, you snap on your spouse.
I get hangry for sure.
I tell my wife now, I go, baby, I haven't eaten any breakfast yet. I'm trying to fast. I'm working on losing weight. I haven't eaten, and you know that. Can we just eat something and then we'll talk? Rather than being, What the fuck? Like, it doesn't get you anywhere. All it does is make the other person angry. And especially in a relationship, how difficult is it to deal with somebody like that all the fucking time? Somebody who's always in a bad mood, somebody who's always putting you down, someone who's never really giving you the time of day. I think that's kind of incredibly important for people that are listening to us to kind of self-reflect a little bit too. This isn't always about us. It's putting ourselves out there to go, hey, I fucked this up. I did this wrong. I really want to see or hear feedback. This is what I would like to, if people are listening to our podcast right now, something that I would love getting pleasure of is hearing and seeing more of, which we have. We're getting a lot of feedback. Give us some feedback. Give us something to talk about in our next podcast about something you have gone through and how this conversation really sparked an interest to self-reflect, on your own.
One of the things that Jen and I instill in both the kids, and obviously the oldest right now is the one because he's understanding his emotions and stuff, is who's the strongest one in the room? The one that can control their emotions, the one that can stay calm. And we continuously drill that into him because it's trying to just teach him, hey, listen, every time he gets mad, listen, dude, you got every right to be mad. But how did you react when you were upset? Oh, I did this. Okay. Listen, I get it. That's what your body wants you to do. You need to control that, right? And that's like even something sensei, self-control. Like we beat that. Even the little one goes, I go, buddy, what do we need to have? Self and heal at 3 years old. Control. Like he knows. Like that's the thing they know. But I think that's what a lot of people don't have is that ability to have that self-control when it is tough and in that perspective. And it doesn't mean it to be perfect, right? There's plenty of times that still I turn around my kids and I'm like, hey, man, I'm really sorry that I had an outburst or maybe I didn't speak to you in the way that I would like to be spoken to. But again, I think doing both of those next time it comes up, right, you're way more conscious of your emotions, what could happen, like what the next step is. And I think in policing in general, if we want to tie it all in together, that's something that a lot of us continuously need to work on because it's so easy for us to get annoyed with people and then just snap, right? And then we bring that home. I had a bad fucking day. I dealt with this asshole, this ass hat, this person. I saw this happen. But you asked originally how I have gone to deal with it. My favorite thing is just, I love gardening. Everyone knows how many times do I come to your house? I'm like, oh, look at that plant. We should do this. We should do this. We should plant this. We can change this. I love being outside, mowing my lawn. I have one buddy, Sal. He's like, why do you mow your lawn? Just pay somebody to do it. You go, it's therapeutic. I get on my mower. I just drive around.
Have you seen me on mine? I'll be whipping that thing.
Hey, both boys, they jump on it. This is fun. It's teaching them how to take care of
something. There may or may not be people stopping in your front yard looking to see if you belong or not.
Hey, listen, I've been whipping mine. I'm leaning back. I was just riding my freaking lawnmower.
Today alone, I was working on my rose bushes and everything else. I love it. I think it's the greatest therapeutic thing is just being outside and doing stuff.
How funny is it when you look at our grandparents? You have the blessing, the opportunity to watch your grandparents get older and seeing how they change. It's like as you get older, you realize like, wow, why are they doing that? Well, because what else are you going to do at 70, 80, 90 years old? It doesn't take a lot. My grandfather's 93 years old and went to visit him in Uruguay. My wife and I were like astounded the fact that he was still bending over to like pull weeds and like plant roses and do stuff. And most people in their 90s, is that show on Netflix is like Live to 100. Have you guys seen that?
No.
You got to watch this. It really does go all over the world. And there's different places in the world like Italy, Japan. There is a blue point, I think it's in California, that they discussed about
lifestyle
where people are surrounded by family.
Acai in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's what they call it. They call it acai.
Okay.
It's actually a book on it, on like how people live in Japan and how they live to like 100 plus because of their way of living and the way they do things, and they're always walking, always like doing gardening and stuff.
How they deal with stress
free, like it's a stress-free, carefree kind of life.
Yeah, it talks about like the family
in Japan that is like that.
They're not putting people into like a family, like a elderly home or anything like that.
Yeah. The
family actually still goes and plays games with them and interacts with them. It's Live to Be 100. I think that's the actual name of the Netflix documentary. It's great, man, But the gardening thing doesn't really come natural. I don't think most people are like, oh, yeah, I want to go garden. There's so much other shit you're kind of focused on, like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to go here, I got to go there. Like, no, you don't got to do shit. Like, I think that we allow ourselves in this world, especially in New York, is just such a busy, like, go lifestyle culture that we don't have time to slow down. But the gardening, man, like I said, this morning I was like, damn, I was like really with my rake, and I was slowing down because I was like, oh, I'm getting tired. Let me slow it down. It was just watching the wheels in motion that were really fascinating to me, because it was like, all right, well, I've never really enjoyed this at all. But now it's like, ooh, I want to grill. Oh, I want to be around my house. Dude, I've had a pool for the last 3 years. I've gotten in it maybe like 6 times.
I go in it every day.
I don't know how to let me rephrase that. I didn't know how to enjoy it. Now I've already been in the pool twice. You know, I go in there, I'm just like hanging out with Tiana, you know, and playing my daughter.
Ikigai.
Ikigai. Yeah, they do talk about that. There you go. Yep,
Ikigai. I remember it because I started Googling it because I remember when I first came across that I guess theory of their Ikigai and why they did certain things and how they do it, because they still practice it. And like I said, there's a book on it and how they live like over 100 years, and you start reading into it, is how like calm everything is and how like everything's stress free, and even the work schedules that they work is completely different. Like it's more about family and more about them and how they deal with things and how they do things. And I remember seeing it in one of the first sergeant conference that I went to. One of the people that was presenting spoke about that, and it was actually, like I said, it was at the time I remember listening to it, and I was like, man, could this shit be real? Like, do people really feel like this? And do people actually? Obviously, we live in New York. Everything's fast paced here. You got to go all the time, right? And I think that contributes a lot to the mental health crisis that we have now in the world. Is that the go mentality? And then when you hear about something in Japan where like the Ikigai, and you see there's a book on it, and again, you can read it on your own if you want to. If you're into reading, I'm not, but maybe I get an audiobook. Maybe I get an audiobook and have it read to me, because that's the kind of person I am. I need it read to me. It was amazing to hear about it, and something that I would probably, if I ever go to Japan at some point in my life, I'll probably want to go to like the town where they do that. Yeah. And like I said, you see they show the video and you see the people like walking and just like, I'm telling you, just stress free.
Yep. There's a part in the documentary where there's a guy he's 102 years old. He looked like he was like no older than 70. He's doing horseback work, like in the fields. He's like pulling weeds and, you know, planting. 102 years old. And then I look at like some people and I go, there's people of 40s and 50s that can't even get out of bed.
We see that all the time, actually, on this job.
Well, I know you do, but think about like how important it is to like move your body. And they say that
emotion stays in motion.
Move. Like that's like a big thing that you see in a lot of different cultures. Like, hey, you got to do exercise. See, the thing is that I don't know if it's just this country or New York or what, but we're always trying to invent shit to make our lives easier, right? Instead of like,
that is true.
When you think about it, back then they didn't want to invent shit. Like if it's not broken, why fix it kind of thing? Yeah. They're still using a lot of the same tools that they used back in the 20s, the 20th century. It's like 2025 and we got robots and machines like pulling shit, and let's call it a pool, right? We all three have pools. We're very fortunate to have pools. I didn't have a pool growing up. Nope. I'm pretty sure you didn't either. I didn't shit.
I had the community pool.
That's right. That's where we went. You know, the community. It was like the Sandlot. You know? It was like the Sandlot. But now we got fucking pool robots doing our job. It's like we're allowing.
Swimming's the shit. I love swimming.
I love swimming. I love the water. I love the ocean.
No, swimming. The robot, swimming.
That's
what we call ours. Swimming.
Oh, swimming.
My kid's like, Dad, drop swimming in. I'm like, you got it, bro.
No, now I bought one that swims above the skimmers.
Oh, you got one too?
One now.
Exactly. Listen to me. Exactly my point proven. Look at these guys swimming and fucking top dog. You know, swimming. The skimmer.
Skimmy.
Swimmy and skimmy. All right. But we're always like finding things help us in our busy lifestyles, right? Because you don't have 5 hours to like skim the pool and clean the pool and get it ready. So it is convenient to be able to drop the robot and whatever else. But how nice is it on a nice day where you sit there and you skim manually and you take all the shit out and then you jump in the pool, you drink a beer, you have a lemonade, whatever the hell you're into,
but that's
right?
a conscious decision that you have to make. Like, yes, I do have the robots and I do have like now Skimmy. But I do go outside and I do just every now and then just start picking the stuff out of the pool, you know. That's relaxing to me. That's relaxing to me. again, certain things you do, like you found gardening very soothing for yourself today. I go outside and I start fucking just cleaning the pool, slow on my own time. Like nobody telling me anything. The kids are probably in school.
Yep.
Literally, just walk outside just to get a freaking 5 minutes for myself as I'm cleaning the pool.
Would it be safe to say, on a serious note, I'm saying that for Angel. I'm saying that for Angel.
Let me get the laughter out first.
Get it out of the way.
All right. All right.
It's contagious. We need this. I guarantee there's people listening to this show right now. Go ahead. Get it out. Go ahead. People are listening to them and they're probably just laughing in the car right now because laughing is contagious.
Or probably like that fucking idiot. That guy.
One or the other. We're not everybody's cup of tea.
Hey, I definitely know I'm not.
I drink my own tea, guy. You know? Would you say it's fair to say that a lot of people, including myself, are constantly filling that calendar, right? Whether it's digital or writing it out, or always fucking putting something in the calendar to do because they just don't know or they're not even aware of their emotions and they don't like how it feels. Let me just kind of rephrase that.
Yeah, rephrase that, please.
So the many conversations that we've had, you want to get anything else out? The many conversations that we've had about me not liking to spend time by myself, I like to be around other people, right?
You do.
Why is that? Well, not as much anymore. I am starting to enjoy it. Yeah, I told Grizz you weren't here yesterday when I said, "Hey."
Oh, I wasn't in my house, but you two were.
Yes,
I was here while you're gone too long.
We were eating pizza in your dining room.
Eating pizza with your daughter, aka our daughter, laughing about the boyfriend that you had no idea she's even dating.
Yeah, she's not dating anybody.
Right.
If you live in New Jersey and she lives in New York, you're not dating.
Can you just
But
date
cool.
somebody that's closer?
Yeah,
She's like, nah.
It's cool.
Yesterday,
Oh, his name is Taint, by the way.
Taint, yeah,
Taint.
it's Tate.
Taint.
Not Taint.
Taint.
It's Tate.
Like Tate, like the cookies.
Like the I said Andrew Tate. You know
That's what I said.
This guy Tate cookies.
So gay.
This guy's thinking about food all the
Andrew
time. I love it.
Tate?
Like me.
Taint.
You know Andrew Tate. He
I
does
don't
all
know
the
him.
All right, who cares? Listen, who cares? All right? Yesterday, I was getting ready to drive out of the house, and this guy has a thing of when he calls you, he doesn't want you to text him back. I was fucking sleeping. I was exhausted.
Hold on. Can I chime into this one? Hold on, before you finish that point. If I call you and you don't pick up, and you text me back 10 minutes later, I find that disrespectful. Call me back, motherfucker. I called you. If I wanted to text, I will fucking text you.
Yeah.
I know how to text. So if I call you, call me back. If I text you, text me back.
Here's what happened.
That's it. Is that too hard?
Here's what happened.
Am I just
I
too
got home
picky?
from work and I knocked the fuck out. And then we put little Maddie to sleep. And I'm like, all right, I have him next to me. I'm not going to call him. I text him, hey, bro, my bad. I fell asleep. I just put the little one down to bed. What's going on? Did you need something? He goes,
I didn't respond.
Every call. He didn't respond
at all.
And later,
The next day,
he goes,
he sent me a text.
I text him, I'm like, yo, bro, you good? Did you need something? He goes, if I call you, it's always an emergency. He fucking loses his shit. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. What the fuck you need, you know? But nevertheless, I was getting ready to walk out to go to that my amputee softball team meetup thing, and I was like, look, you just happen to get me at the right time. I'm walking out of the house. You want to come with me? He's like, man, I've been studying all fucking day. Yes, I'm gonna go. He's like, oh, because I know you don't like to be by yourself. I was like, don't fucking get it twisted, bro. The only reason why I asked you is because I felt bad for the text. I was like, I was getting ready to go without you. That's not an issue. But we made a good time out of it. We went to the meetup. You came to
Very humbling, brother.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I could say about yesterday and spending time with what's the name of the
USA Patriots.
the
my
USA
softball team.
Patriots was that we complain about little things in life, man, and you have people that have missing limbs and arms, legs. No, I'm talking about like
He was talking about especially my buddy Reese Hines. He's an Air Force EOD. He's missing fingers. He's missing his eyeball. He's missing like shit that
there's
really
people missing
affect
a
your
bunch
life.
of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like physically missing things, right? And they were so.
I'm physically missing things too, bro. You forget. He forgets all the time.
We're used to you.
We're used to my business.
We're used to
I
it.
literally said that to him yesterday. I go, it's so crazy because we're so used to you that it doesn't like. It's not humbling to have him around anymore. It's Matthias. Cool.
Thanks.
It's Matthias. It's not. I'm not saying it's not.
It's true, and it's a good feeling.
We
for
had
to
you
look at my
around.
life.
And being around all these people yesterday, and just like watching everybody and how happy everybody was and how they were interacting. I just kept telling Matthias, I was like, man, I'm so humbled to be here. Like, I'm actually glad. You know me. I don't go out. I try to stay the fuck away from people. I actually told him, I was like, I'm glad I came out of the house. Like, I'm glad you got me out of the house. This is a very humbling experience, and I appreciate you bringing me out today.
He was so humble. He's going back today, right?
I didn't say I was going back today, but maybe. Again, it was just like I said, looking at everyone that was there, and everyone seemed so happy, like literally happy as hell. Not a single word about anything that they quote unquote have missing in their physically. It was just like straight up fucking happiness. Everybody was just spewing like happiness, having great conversations. Whether I got into a few conversations with different people that were there, and it was. Like I said, I was beyond like fucking humbled last night. I was just like, holy fuck, man. Like we complain about little things in life, and just being around like this crowd was just like, bro, like we can't complain, man. Like people, like I said, have things actually happening to them and they're happy as can be, you know?
Yeah. So
that was humbling.
I feel like the point of the conversation was that we are so busy that we go. And instead of putting things on a calendar, we need to start making some room for us to have alone time, you know, to learn how to deal with our emotions, to be with ourselves, to be with our good, bad, need for improvement selves, you know, because I think we could all learn from ourselves. It's a wonderful thing, like Angel said, to humble yourself with other people. But the problem is that a lot of times, as that makes us feel humble, sometimes that could be a hard thing too, because like, man, look at this guy. He's got all this shit missing, and he's not complaining, but here I am complaining and stuff. And yeah, it can humble you, but if you don't know how to bring yourself back up either, it's not the best place to be either. Right. Like I said, with Reese,
that's the point, to get reflection, self-reflection.
Self-reflection is absolutely needed. You know, and in privacy on our own, you know, to kind of help us grow on our own. But like guys, for example, like Reese or Greg. Both of them are arm well, Reese is missing fingers and stuff, but Greg is a complete arm amputee up to the shoulder, and he does a lot of public speaking, and he has a business. He just had a baby as well not too long ago with his wife. And I remember when we first started on the softball team, Greg had me cut a steak, you know, and I would sit in his room and I go, dude, I'm sorry for being an asshole, but how do you do this? Or how do you tie your shoe? And he's like, oh, let me show you. And I was like, I'm here bitching about stupid shit, like not having to clip my toenails anymore. And here he is showing me how he still has to do it.
Wait, you're bitching about not cutting your toenails anymore?
Yeah, well, I was like, oh, I missed, you know.
I fucking hate clipping my toenails. Well, I have to have them clipped, but I hate clipping.
Well, exactly. It's all about perspective, right? It's like, well, I don't have feet anymore, so I don't have to do that. So I can be a positive thing or it could be a negative thing, right? And I always chose in the beginning to think of it in a negative way. And I'm like, well, then here's Greg, who has one fucking hand, who has to learn how to cut all his fingernails. And I go, well, what about your hands? He goes, well, I have a little machine, and I actually put my finger there, and I can just press this little lever, and it comes down and it cuts my fingers, you know. Or I'll have my mom help me out. You know, his mom helped him out for a very long time. Now he's got a wife, an incredible wife, who him and her do a great job with their kids and stuff. It's all about perspective. Everything's about perspective. But the vulnerable part of us, that fear, the inspiration, the whatever emotion you have running through you, is meant to be felt, I believe, in private as well as public. You know, because in public, we're kind of showcasing that we know how to behave, which I want to go back to what you said. Your children are young, but they understand. Me personally, I'm not saying they don't understand. I would like to think that you're just doing a great job as a father, implementing that and planting the seed so that I can truly understand it when they're older. They get it because you taught it to them, but then I don't know that they understand some of those things like self-control, because I'm just learning a little about self-control, but you're doing a phenomenal job in placing that seed, which most of us haven't really had. You and Jen, of course, you and your wife are planting that seed in your children to have a better and more successful future in this topic, right, than we did maybe, because this is why we kind of brought this podcast to light is, hey, we didn't really know these things. Did you learn about fucking self-control when you're 5-6 years old? Because I sure as fuck did, and I'm just learning about it now. Oh, the Marines, they're the few, the proud, the honor, courage, commitment. Bro, I didn't know shit. I had someone yelling at me all the fucking time and forcing me to know these things, right? And then when I was on my own, I was like, well, I don't know how to fucking do this, because I never really got taught. I just always falling. But what do they say? You always got to be a good follower before you can be a good leader.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's incredible that you're leading you're in a position to lead your children,
I mean,
you and
the
your
guy's a
wife.
lieutenant, so he's leading.
What'd you say?
I said the guy's a fucking lieutenant, so he is leading.
Well, you're definitely leading different aspects, but I'm talking about in the home front, right? How important it is for our children to be raised by us, not by social media, not by other people, not by other parents and influences out in the real world. It's like the Bible says, right? Do not conform to the ways of this world. It's the same thing in this aspect, is you are responsible for teaching your children the information that they have to be successful in numerous aspects of life. And other things, unfortunately, it is life. They got to fucking figure it out themselves, just like we're kind of doing ourselves, and hopefully they surround themselves around people like you guys, you know?
Well, they're going to fail, and that's the whole, like you said, they understand, they know what to do. They're going to fail. And the greatest thing about failing, right? I even tell this to my oldest with everything, whether it's schoolwork, jitsu, t-ball, whatever it is. I'm like, dude, I don't care if you fail. I care that after you fail, you understand what you did wrong and then how to make it better. That's the important thing. As well as, just trying your best, working hard, being a good person. But I tell them that all the time, because I think way too often we think we need to be perfect, and that's put on a lot of kids and a lot of grown-ups, right? Failing as a parent. You're not failing as a parent. You failed in an instant. That's fine. Everybody fails. But one of the biggest things is how you react to that. How do you go back to your kids after you've, whether you screamed at them or disciplined, or listen, even when I'm right and I discipline my kids and I'm just stern, they get upset when I'm stern. I'm not yelling at them. I don't degrade them or anything like that. But LJ will get upset and he'll cry. And I'll be like, Bubby, why are you crying? Oh, because you scared me. I go, well, how did I scare you? Because I was stern? He goes, yeah. I go, hey, man, I get that. You're allowed to have your feelings be affected because I was stern. I understand that. But why was I stern? Well, I hit Ollie. Okay. Well, did I tell you a few times before that calmly to stop? Yeah. Did we talk about your options and how you're supposed to react to whether you're frustrated or angry or whatever else? Yeah. Go, okay. Well, then Daddy got stern and you were put on, told to go sit in the chair, do whatever else. Well, I don't like that. I go, you're not supposed to. I get that. Your value, you can still validate it and work on that with them, while still, again, controlling yourself. Because I feel like a lot of times, and it's just, again, something I brought up my oldest at this point, he's like, well, you're making me feel this way. I go, no. I'm not making you feel any way. You're feeling a way after my actions. I go, and that's perfectly normal. But you're going to control how you deal with that feeling. And that's a lot of times what we don't, that outburst, right? We are all too often to go, well, that person made me mad. No. You're mad from their actions, it's fine, but you control your emotions.
You know how hard that is?
Yeah, take the bridge, for example.
And I'm
daily working on it.
And that's what I'm saying, that I don't know that I am there yet. Yes, in some instances, like some days you catch me and you can cut me off however the fuck you want, and I'll just kind of just let it roll off. Other days you don't even have to do that much, and I'm just fucking flipping the fuck out inside my car. I don't lower the window. I don't try to start anything. But it takes time, and I genuinely do work on my reaction specifically to the road stuff, because people do drive like assholes. So I do specifically target how I react, and I've been working on it for a very long time, because I've had instances where people will get out of their car, and then I get out of my car, and that doesn't work out very well.
Right.
For anybody.
For me, it does, but in the long run does it, because now if I hurt somebody, or if they hurt me, did it really go as planned, right? Because yes, I can hurt somebody, but can they hurt me? Of course, I'm not fucking Superman.
Right.
Even Superman got hurt by Batman at some point. Yeah. He still beat the shit out of Batman. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, you like it?
Shit. I mean, who do you like, Superman or Batman?
Superman. 1,000%. There's no discussion.
Superhero.
There's no discussion.
There's a lot of Batman lovers.
Bro, listen. If you're a Batman lover, do not ever start the argument with me. So far, don't ever. You get it. Why you getting me going, bro? You know what you're doing.
Do you remember when we talked about this? He's working on it. All right, let's see. Let's see how this goes.
Calm down. That's it. I figured you out.
That's the thing. Right? You're a human. You're allowed to get upset, but it's catching it and going, okay. Take a breath.
Hell yeah.
Because the more you work on that, right? The more you, and again, I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm 1,000% better than what I used to be.
Yeah. Getting better every day. That should be the goal.
Thing, every single day. But one of the things that I've also tried to implement is I control very little. If I'm late to something, I hate fucking being late. One thing I purposely started trying to do is be late. You just teach them like, if I'm late, I'm late. I'll get there. And then what if you get, okay, I'll make another appointment. Because what it's teaching me is to kind of go with things. And
as a police officer, bro, when I catch somebody and they say, I'm just late to work, I'm like, and guess what? Now you're going to be even later.
I say it all the time. I go, how'd that work out for you? Because now
you're going to be even later to work.
I bet that person's emotions are going through the roof.
No, and they are, but guess who's to blame for that?
Yourself, of course. Right. So now let's say you're rushing to go to work, you get into an accident, you hurt yourself or you hurt somebody else, you kill yourself or you kill somebody else. Are you making it to fucking work? Yep. You're not. So yes, being late and purposely working on being late.
I can hear somebody in the car responding, no shit, Sherlock.
Hey, listen, yes, you're late to work. Just because you get there 5 minutes late, what's the difference between getting there 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late? You're still fucking late.
Just think about you. Do you guys do car stops? You guys do car? You still? I'm just saying more.
This guy has more gun collars than we can freaking even.
I'm just saying because the people on here that are listening and viewing, we haven't done that in a while.
Even as a supervisor,
okay, this is what I want. There's a lot of people that are not cops that listen to this, right? Mm-hmm. In your position as a supervisor, and obviously being more of a university police rather than municipal or county, state, whatever. It's still state. Okay, so when you're still doing car stops, all right. What and how many times have you pulled someone and seen so many different emotions coming out of different people, especially in the situation in a college? College kids are very emotional. They aren't really, there yet with the self-identification or control or whatever else. Think about how many times we have the ability to make a difference in somebody's life by just going, hey, man, I understand you don't want to get the pep talk. You don't want to get the talk that your parents should have probably fucking gave you, but you matter, right? Mm-hmm. You matter. I want you to slow down for this reason or another. Imagine if you've now learned to control your emotions and how you respond to them is the way that they taught or they learned something new. They go, shit, man, that cop really cared about me. Like, wow. And especially in the world we live in today, people are very sensitive. And why are they sensitive? Because we don't know how to control certain emotions. And a lot of people I've learned do not have the people to teach them. And I'm hoping that they find that themselves to go out there and learn on their own. But when you do car stops, how many times have you had the ability to make a change in someone's emotions?
Often. But I think that's not just where I am. I think that's consistent.
Everywhere. Also, everywhere.
But as a grown-up, why should I be the one to change your emotions?
Listen, I'm not in charge of their emotions, right? It's not my job to make somebody feel happy, glad, sad.
Absolutely.
That's theirs. But
as long as you're courteous and professional.
At the same point, right. And I think that's really where it goes to. Like, I'm choosing, even when somebody's an asshole, hey, fuck you, dickhead. I'm like,
which we get all the time.
Do I get aggravated? Yeah, I'm not saying I'm a fucking calm as a cucumber, but like, do I choose my response to my aggravation with that person?
Day, sir.
Yes. And it's stuff like that. And it's stuff I'm like, all right, man, cool. License, registration. Why the fuck? I'm like, license and registration. Again, does my tone change? Yes. But I'm not sitting there going back and forth, getting hyped.
Yeah.
And I've had people, just write me a ticket. I go, oh, don't worry. I'm going to write you many. And I go back to the car. And that's my fuck you, right? Like, but again, and I've been told, hey, like, you can't say that. I'm like, okay.
Say what? Fuck you?
No, that too, but things like that, and it's again you get to control. And it's not saying that you need to be a robot because nobody is, and you're allowed to express your emotions and your feelings, but you still need to understand what level you're at and how you're.
We're expected to be robots. We're expected for people to tell us whatever the fuck they want to tell us.
Which is why this conversation
we need to just kind of like
this conversation is so important. And it took us 46 to 47 minutes. I think I started this late. 46 to 47 minutes to bring up a topic that might even take an hour to talk about in policing, right? Again, we're not the best police officers. We are police officers and we are trying to make a difference. But think about the way that we respond to calls, not just car stops. I really do think that reflects. I've asked, let's say, at least 100 cops because I've dealt with it at the academy where I'm putting out the future police officers, right? And I asked them, I go, how many of you have ever been pulled over before you're a police officer? A lot of them raise their hand. Yep. And I go, how was the interaction between you and the officer? Right? A lot of them said, it was all right. It was okay. Oh, I got a ticket. I did. Okay, why did you get a ticket? Well, you did this wrong. Okay, fine. Let's understand that the reason why they pulled over is not up for question or debate. Right? It's not. It's not up for question or debate. You are the one who put it out there. All right? But the reality is that the way we respond to certain things or the way that we talk to people can have a reflection on how the situation goes. So I think that we need to do a better job at self-reflecting ourselves so that we can respond to that fuck you, dickhead, you know, a little bit differently than going, get the fuck out of the car. Because how often do we see that? You know, like we react to people's, you know, actions.
I agree with you. I know Chris got to go, so we're gonna probably cut the episode at this point. But next time, this should be a great conversation because this can take up to a whole hour to talk about.
Right.
Because we are expected to act like robots, and that's not fucking feasible. Right. We have emotions, and people say things, and sometimes we react. Not that we mean to. It just happens. Not every day is a great fucking day. Right. Just like we said at the beginning. One day you might be happy, the next day you may not be happy.